You grew up, in a small town in Germany where the X-ray was first discovered. I think your first trip to America, you packed your own towel. How did the States compare to what you were expecting?
All I saw was the show Dallas a little bit. My parents were watching, and so this was like, on the countryside. I was a little shocked how big the city was already then, and all the skyscrapers, and I had no idea what to expect. And it kind of blew my mind. Of course, there was a little bit of a language barrier there when I got here. There was a little bit of a culture shock because I lived with my parents my entire life, and then not only am I 1 or 2 hours driving away, I'm 11 flight hours away. Right. So it was hard not knowing anybody, not having my family close, and that was hard. My mentor Holger, when something was wrong, I'd call him, be like, there were probably times where we were on the phone every day. Before every game, then after the game, if something would really be bad, he would show up 2 days later. He'd be there for me, and we practice or we'll talk, and that usually helped me a lot. And then I always give Steve Nash and Michael Finley a lot of credit because they were so great to me from the beginning, how they supported me. Steve would always take me out when I'm homesick, or we'd go to movies or dinner.
Back then, he was so focused on basketball. I just kind of wanted to give him other things to kind of just see and feel and see if he liked any of them. I would take him to independent films and stuff that he'd be rolling his eyes at, and we'd laugh about it.
What would you say your lowest point was, though, in those early days with being homesick?
There were games where I didn't play at all, and I've never envisioned that. I've never felt that in my life, in my career so far. Those were tough times when you don't even get subbed in at all. But I think it sometimes is normal when things are not going your way that doubt creeps in a little bit. So I was thinking, was this the right decision? Should I have stayed in Europe? Should I have gone to college?
Depressed?
I don't know if it got that bad, but what I did was I kind of worked my way through stuff. If I didn't play, while the other guys were doing media, I was already on the bike. I was getting a sweat, or I went back out, got some shots up. The next day I would show up 2 hours early for practice, and just, if I don't play, I got to work hard and I got to get better. So you can play me. And off the court, homesick was the worst.
He was severely homesick, and it didn't help that...
When he left in May that first year, I didn't think he was coming back.
Really?
No.
Okay, why is that?
He wanted to hug me goodbye before he left, and he had never said that before. And I thought, uh-oh. But I knew he wasn't happy, and it was tough on him. It's a new country, that people did things differently. They didn't understand him. He barely understood them, and then his boss was not very nice. He didn't like rookies.
I wasn't as concerned. The only question I had was if he was questioning himself. I know at one point I had a conversation with his dad. His dad was like, I don't think my son is ready for the NBA. But he said it with like a tongue-in-cheek, but Dirk was a hard worker.
The last thing you wanted is this young guy with tons of talent to come over and before he really starts to develop, feel homesick or uncomfortable. So eventually I think he stopped missing his mom so much and became one of the greatest players of all time.
I heard you ate fast food for lunch and dinner. You were sleeping on a twin-size mattress, and you were not cashing your paychecks.
It was a little bit of a challenge to get going at the beginning. I was really fortunate here to have a lady, Lisa. She was the head of accounting, and they kind of say, hey, Lisa, why don't you take care of Dirk a little bit, help him out when he's struggling.
I have kids his age, okay? So my deal is I'm going to teach you how to do this, and then you do it on your own, because I'm not going to live forever. And so he would ask, and I would tell him what he needed to do, and he would get it done.
So every couple of weeks, I'd go in her office. I didn't even know how to write a check. So she's like, hey, listen, this is where you put your name, this is where you put your date, and then here's a number, here you write it out. And I knew none of that. I never had to write a check in my life. So it was, at the beginning it was just pretty rough. I had an apartment and I rented, and there was nothing in it. So I remember I got a twin-size bed, I think, I had one couch that was, you were able to pull that out if I have a guest coming.
I go, where do you sleep? And he said, there. And I said, no, we're going to fix that.
Actually, my first year, I had a rental car, just a small, normal, compact car. So every time I pull up to the practice facility or to a game, the other guys are just killing me, right? What are you doing? Buy a car.
It took you a minute to figure out how to get the AC to work?
Yeah, it was like 80s, 90s out. And I'm going to the game, and I'm in a full sweat showing up. I had both my windows rolled down, and I show up sweating to the game, and they were like, what are you doing? I'm like, man, my car is super hot. I'm not sure what's going on. And they said, do you see this button here, AC? You have to push that in. So when that light is on, that means the AC is on. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because my car in Germany didn't have AC.